In our face, does that mean something?
We were working with the audio to try adjusted your technical with the low audio.
Yeah.
And he said could be the distance at which you guys have the audios to
It's
yourself.
to cover all
And
the
we also
engineering
maxed the
costs,
audio as
that
much as we
wall.
could on there.
And so this feeds into your team.
And,
I don't know. It
it's still,
depends on when they
it's better.
start and the money
So we're gonna
starts
be
coming
ordering
in
the
from the grants.
amplifier to try and help it out to
But until
get
we
the
start,
mic
we
to be a
can't
little bit
touch
louder.
that
Oh.
money, so
The
we
mic's
have
not
to pay
in the top.
interest.
Great.
Should-
Well,
so the-
we
the-
say such
the pipe
valuable
work is
things here.
getting
We want to
done
make sure
over
everybody.
I think that's a
a whole
different
And
project.
That's
we
a
are
different
live
project.
now
But they
for
did level the ground with a,
Oh, no.
water plant. So
What?
they were in there for 3 days.
They were drilling, they had drills go on and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean it started? I don't know.
Well, when the grants start coming
Oh, the grants, okay, that's the trouble.
in, that,
Got it.
we're just further in debt right now.
You gotta wait till they hold up another hoop. is what they're doing.
Yeah, you gotta jump through that first hoop, yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
You don't look that old.
Feel it.
Oh,
Please.
oh my.
Oh, jeez.
Oh. You're the youngest guy in the room, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, should have been Cody.
Yeah, you are there.
Sounds good.
My blue binder, I think, is probably
It does make a difference.
detached.
It makes
Yeah,
a difference.
could you bring
yeah.
that up to the council chambers? That would be much appreciated. Yeah, I'll buy you dinner. Okay, all right. Bye.
I would've gone and got it if you would've said.
Yeah,
Well, it's at home, that might be.
Bob's good at running, because I know he walked up here, so he could have done
Yeah.
double time to get there.
Yep.
Well, you gotta trust, you can trust.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That letter's
I
downstairs
can't
for you to
afford
sign
to
on
drive
the
it.
letterhead.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, yeah. The gas budget's all gone. Oh, man.
So it looks on the screen, I was looking on the weather thing coming in, looks pretty formidable.
Well,
So,
we've said that for a couple of days, but I think this time we're gonna get it. Yeah.
You could feel that energy in the air today.
It was pretty red line over by Grand Rapids.
Is it?
A little bit
Yeah, it's
ago.
bad.
Yeah, really red.
Pretty
It'll
nasty.
Be off the walls if it starts thundering.
Is it coming straight across? Sometimes it goes to Yeah.
I know,
okay,
that-
it kind of
yeah.
splits.
The divide
Yeah,
kind of
Wrench
umbrellas
and
us.
divide, the lake effect or whatever.
well, I was looking at the flags outside, and it looked like there's a southerly wind, and yet the
Yeah.
front's moving in from the west.
I think it's swirly.
That's not usually a good combination.
Oh. Had a tornado up here for a long
Boy, that
time.
looks nice out there.
I
That's
remember as a little
sign
kid,
that
it was the
kiosk
western
that's
sky
there.
or something, and
That was
it
really
was more
sharp.
like a straight line wind. We didn't really get a tornado.
Yeah, need a little update.
I like the kind of greenish tinge you get when hail is coming in.
Yeah.
Well, they're calling for that tonight too. So.
Oh, hail? geez.
Mhm.
A little bit of everything then.
Uh-huh.
As long as there are no tornadoes, those things are a little bit scary.
Have we ever had a tornado up here? I know straight line winds, but what about?
Over at EVTAC, they had a tornado hit the plant out in Forbes, and it took some cars and piled them up in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we've had some big blowdowns, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But-
that's,
Yeah, was that one in the Boundary Waters sometime ago? Was that
Oh, yeah.
a tornado or was that just?
No, that was a
Straight one.
That was.
straight line, yeah.
Guys, they found that second canoe.
Yeah.
did they just have, isn't that one last year at Bass Lake? Was that last year?
A tornado?
No, the straight
Oh.
line
Oh, yeah.
knocked down all those trees.
Yeah, could you sign in?
So I'm flying blind.
Oh, we'll be all right with the 5
Yeah,
o'clock.
yeah.
Gonna have to order big for that one, you know. Oof.
No engineer?
He is actually on vacation in Florida today.
Oh, Disney.
Florida.
And he's answering emails. He tried calling me, and I purposely didn't answer it. And I sent him a message, and I said, unless you're calling me to go fishing or help you with a house project, you need to not call me.
Yeah.
He just keeps working, and he's down in Florida with his family. Like, that's, he can't help it. He's just gotta keep doing it.
In France, when you're on vacation, they can't contact you, can't text you, can't do anything.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's against the law.
When our country's old enough, we'll learn those things. What? Is it? Oh, okay, we don't go by that one, that's right, yeah. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'll call this special agenda meeting of the Aurora City Council to order, and we don't need a roll call because we're not conducting business at this point. All right? So, let's see, do we first acknowledge that our city administrator is having a birthday today? It's of course the most important item of city business before us. And there are refreshments that the loyal staff have put together there that people can partake of. Those that are present anyway. I guess if those at home want to celebrate, lift a toast.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
There you go. So, city administrator, what is you got for us?
We have staff updates, so we will start with our librarian update.
All right.
All right, our summer reading program, which is Read, Renew, Repeat this year, will start next Monday. The first week we will be making terrariums. We have a few samples in the library that are really cool that Becca made for us for examples, so if you have a chance, stop in and see them. There's some big ones, so pretty neat. Sign-ups start Monday and the program will end August 2nd. We have 2 programs coming up in June. The first one will be Tui the Comic Stunt Juggler. He will visit the library on June 13th from 1 to 2. This is open to all the public and for all ages. It's sponsored by Arrowhead Library System and funded by the Minnesota Arts Cultural Heritage Fund. Our other program will be making boho journals with Mary Malari. She just walked in. Hi, Mary. Mary will join us on June 25th from 2 to 4 and will provide the journal, stickers, washi tape, and inspiration. This program is for teens and adults. We had the entire 3rd grade class visit us a couple weeks ago. There were 60 kids in the library and it was a lot of fun but chaos. But they were on tours of different facilities in the area, and so we were excited to have them visit ours. And we plan on making it a monthly thing in the fall when school starts again. And the library now has informational boards that help keep the community up to date on the happenings around town. So they are in the back of the library, and we hope this helps get the word and information out.
Good, thank you. Jen?
Yes.
Let's see, city attorney, any updates?
Just speaking with Administrator Hinkla, the Nygaard property was purchased, and I think Administrator did the building come down today?
Today, yep.
Today. So we got that one cleaned up, and there's a number of others to go, but one by one, hopefully, we'll address the blight in the city of Aurora.
Good deal, appreciate that.
Nice job.
You had a blight issue this afternoon, right? You were talking about on the one by the school?
Yeah, I can give a little update on that because there's a lot of people interested in that. St. Louis County actually owns the property. They started the demo process before my time here, so I'm guessing 2022 possibly maybe. They did the environmental assessment on it, they did the asbestos abatement on it, they did all of the appliance removal, the personal belongings, so all that's left is for the structure to come down. They said they cannot do it because of the lawsuit, but they encouraged us to do it with the IRRB grant. They own the property, so when we have a budgeted blight account, it's typically for properties that we own or things that we're looking to purchase or do. So I kind of reached back to them and said, well, I got a quote to do this work. It's going to cost us about $3,000 or $4,000. Will you cover the $3,000 or $4,000? And they said, no, they wouldn't, that we would cover that. So
Is that $3,000 or $4,000 above the grant?
no, that's real costs to the city. The grant money would cover the additional. So we would be demoing the county's structure with Aurora's blight funds, which we wouldn't be in turn able to use on our own projects. So I guess that's where it's at. If we wanted to spend our own dollars to knock that down for the county, or if we wanted to send a letter to the county, or whatever you wanted to do, that's where that one's at, so.
So that's for the audience, that's the structure just across from the school, kind of on, what would it be, the south?
First Avenue, or
Yeah.
First Street, First Street.
Yeah.
First Street, corner of First Street and Fourth Avenue, kitty corner right across from the Lucky Seven.
Yeah.
So if we knocked that down and paid the $3,000 to $4,000, would the county be nice enough to grant us the land?
No,
Nope.
No?
no.
Did the county give any kind of timeline about if they do it, how long it might be?
They said that they will not, the legislature did not pass any path forward. Well, they did pass a financial package for the houses that had already been affected by the Supreme Court case. They did not put in place the rules and regulations for the buildings and lands to be sold. So it is not in their foreseeable future. And it's not even though it's the counties, they're holding it for the state. So technically, they couldn't even give it away if they wanted to, because they're just the caretakers of it, I guess, until they can figure out what to do with it. So,
Interesting dilemma. Let's see, do we have any other?
So what would our next steps be? I mean, do we have to bring it before the council and make a decision on what we want to do? I mean, it looks pretty bad.
I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, we can certainly spend Aurora's dollars to take care of the problem. I didn't budget for it, but we can. I mean, sometimes you just spend the money for the greater good. But that's where it's at. We can reach out to county commissioner. We could see if we could do a land swap. We could see if we went above the people that I talked to, if there's something we could do there. I mean, there's different paths that we could try before we try to spend the money.
Yeah.
Well, I
Let's
can't
do-
see using our money for the county if we don't get the lot. We're working on projects now where we're acquiring the property and we own the lot. I'd rather see our money used there than do clean up the St. Louis County.
Maybe the wind will do it for us.
I could certainly reach out to the county commissioner and see if there's something we can do and work around.
I think that's the thing to do, yeah.
The next thing, okay.
Because it's terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I know, but why should we spend our money to cover costs for the
just a
county?
bad statement to all the visitors that go to the school, right? You know,
And they,
be seeing-
yeah, and it looks
Or
like
just
it's
a
ours.
corner house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a garage there too, so it's not cheap. It's a garage and it's a house.
Now, if they
So
give us a lot, it'd be a different story.
yeah, yeah.
And it's a complete lost cause?
Yes.
Well, maybe the storm will take care of it.
Yeah.
Maybe. And along the lines of blight, we did purchase three lots last year. One of them was the Nygaard property. The other one, there's 2 lots, a garage and a house on South Second Street East, and those also came down today. So that was actually a very, very big source of blight in the trailer court. The garage door was wide open and people were throwing everything that they could think of inside of that thing. So finally, all of that is gone today as well. So now we got a few more lots out there that will keep the grass cut on and keep it looking nice, and we'll just slowly.
Keep assembling
Yep.
a potentially
Yep.
Valuable collective parcel, right?
We've got something we can develop out there. Yep. So that's the blight update.
So, many other projects, which ones do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so actually, since the engineer's not here, it's not out for public use right now, but I did get a link to a website, our website, and it's just kind of how it would look right now with all of the projects, and they don't want it to go live yet because it's under construction, but they're working on it the next week or two. So for the engineer's update, I was just gonna kind of run through all of our projects and kind of just let you know where we're at right now with everything. The industrial park, we are of course doing a CMAR, so it's construction manager at risk. Adolphson Peterson was here on the 30th, and we opened up bids. We have not received a tally from them yet on what it's looking like for a guaranteed maximum price from them, but I would expect at our next council meeting, you guys will hear the cost of the building. We would vote to approve the guaranteed maximum price or not, if it's outside of bounds. It looks like, from the high level, it looks like it came in under budget. We didn't put, we just kind of loosely tallied some things up. But it looks like it came in about $100,000 or more under budget. They're doing 3 bid packs there, is what they call them. The first bid pack was the walls, the precast walls. That was accepted and ordered a long time ago because that's the longest lead time. This one is the actual building itself, the structure, the walls, the HVAC, the electrical, all the digging, the foundation, all that stuff. So that's bid pack 2, and then bid pack 3, which will come out later this year, will be all the underground utilities and the road. So they're doing it with 3 separate bids. So we'll look for that. So the guarantee maximum price probably be at the next meeting, and then they would start breaking ground in July on that. So that's that. Do you guys have any questions on the industrial park at all?
Do we have a, I know it's too wet, but it's gonna get wet tonight, or do we have a time for chipping or not yet?
Yeah, no, that's good too. I talked to the chipper, and he's bringing it to the Hibbing biomass plant. They've got a contract with McGregor, the pallet company in McGregor that makes pallets, and they brought them so much that Hibbing is just stocked up on it, and because of the warm weather and whatnot, they didn't burn as much, so they've got plus inventory. So he said, in hindsight, I wouldn't have taken this on had I known that, you know, those outside forces would have been in there, but I did accept to do it, and I want to stay in good graces with the city. So he's like, let's figure out a way to make it happen. So I think what we came up with is that he will come in and chip the residential area and the industrial park construction area by July 1st, and just kind of get that all out of the way, so that's completely wide open, and the residential area is open on Community Drive and Erie Street. And then later on, when it makes more sense for the biofuel plant, he'll come back a second time and then get the rest of the stuff to the north. And I mean, it can sit there for as long as we need. It's not in the way. So then he'd come back and get that and haul it at a second time this year, probably this fall. So that's where that's at. So I've told him now July 1st to get it out of there by. So.
Does the funding we have pay for any portion of that utility extension from across the road, you know, in the community area over to the industrial park, or how's that going to be handled?
So the sewer line will probably be covered with those funds, because we have to increase the sewer line to handle the capacity of the industrial park. The water line will not be. So it just makes good sense, since we're upgrading the sewer line, to do the water line at the same time, and then also loop it across the street. So we would have to come up with some funds for that, which is a good segue to, we do have on the agenda tonight for you to consider is assessments for Erie Street and community housing. Now, this is not, you're not voting to assess them today, you're voting to start the process or look to see if it's feasible. So there's an assessment study which would be done, and it's both for, there's 2 of them separately, 2 separate resolutions. One is for the community drive Erie Street housing, well, it would be the housing, but it would be the utilities, okay? And then the second one is for First Avenue reconstruction next year. So essentially what this is doing is you're authorizing our engineering firm to go out, start the Chapter 429 process, do the study, make sure that if there's level and capacity to assess what those dollars are, because there's a state statute that says you can't assess more than what the value of the increase is. So that's what you'd be considering tonight, is assessments possibly for that utility structure out there, and also First Street. We would know later on, you know, a month or 2, what that looks like, and then we could do a public meeting, we could present that and see what those dollars would actually look like at that point. In there, the cost of the study, not to exceed, is in the resolutions, and I don't know if we got any updated ones, but it's in there. But we anticipated that this was coming, so there's no extra cost. It was in the dollars that we've already awarded for the design and whatnot of First Avenue and for the project that's out there. So we're not going to encumber these costs. I guess, like, we have to go find them or whatnot. We've already approved those expenditures. So it's just in there to show you that there are those costs that would be from those approved dollars already that would be going to.
So they're essentially refining the overall financing plan for that project, because we've got, what, 1.5 of LRIP
Yep.
funds? But you estimated.
There's another 400,000. We've got about 1.9 in grants, and then there's probably about another $1 million that we have to come up with for construction next year. Yep.
Okay.
So out there, potentially that would be about $300,000 to $400,000, and then there's other, you know, there's our funds that we could use. There's IRRB funds that we could use for things, you know, we could look at getting for things like that too. So if you add in the estimated assessed funds, we're probably looking at about 700,000, 600,000, something like there.
When they do the assessment study, well, you've got existing homes, but do they assess the number of lots that they anticipate?
Yep, so let's say,
They get rolled into that?
yep, so let's say we have the lots that are platted out there and they're ready to go,
Yep.
and we're gonna put water and sewer lines in. Whatever you would assess the homeowners on the north side, you would assess on the south side, if you would roll it into the purchase price of the lot. You know, if they bought the lot for $10,000, you could say 8,000 of it was the water or wastewater assessments or whatever. That is completely up to how we wanna structure that. That would be the, I guess, the anticipated thought, I guess.
Then who absorbs that cost until those lots are
We would.
purchased?
Yep,
City?
yep, yep.
Well, a lot of exciting things in the works there.
Yeah.
When we do that, I mean, and when we do that for the new development, would we stub both sides of the road or just, one side?
Well, so in the new development, the lots, the utilities would be stubbed in the rear, so they wouldn't be stubbed in with the road.
Okay.
So the water and sewer actually would just be going in through the land or the grass in the back. And then the road, when it runs through the front, there wouldn't be any utilities for the south side of that road at that point. So we would just be selling and getting those front lots gone. And then once those went, then we would use that to go after the second phase or whatnot. Or, I mean, we would be applying for funds for the whole thing, and if there's housing funds for all of it, we'll certainly put it all in, So I guess what we would probably recommend is, here's if we can get $1 million in funding from housing, and if we can't, then we'll just do the 500,000 and get it. I'm just using numbers off the top of my head, but you see what I'm saying? Let's go after all of it, and then we'll do it in phases if we have to.
And then on that First Street project, is it the one with the other, are we gonna pave all the way down to where the paving ended now with the new parking lot that's down there? 'Cause it's halfway up that parking lot, the old parking lot?
We don't have the Pine Grove parking lot to fit into it, but we have
No.
up to the alley.
Yeah, but
Yep.
then there's a little stretch between the alley and where they stopped also. There's 100 feet, 200 feet.
So the thought is that whole square of Pine Grove Park probably could get done with this project. And then also the First Avenue, the entire First Avenue project.
I hate to have a little stretch like this with potholes.
Yeah. It just makes sense to do it once they're there. The other thing that we want to do is the community center parking lot with this project as well. So we're going to try and get some funds for that to get it redone. And I mean, they're right there, it needs to be redone, so. I'm thinking the curb can probably stay, so it's just going to be the blacktop in the middle, but yeah. So it'd be nice to get the community center parking lot and fire hall, that whole stretch, and then Pine Grove Park. Now we want to be cognizant that, Caring for Kids wants to put maybe a motion park down in there and stuff like that. So if they're going to put things in there, we're not going to put blacktop, but we're going to add that, rip it out. So we got to kind of plan that a little bit, but yeah, that would be great.
We get the monies we got, legislatively, that 600,000 or something like that for the community center, that
Could
could
go.
be
It
used,
could.
right?
It could.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with it, right?
Correct.
The legislation.
I did talk to Deed if that was approved, if that was an approved expenditure, and they said it was.
Good.
Yeah.
And is there a timeline on that? Do we have to use it by a
It's
certain
like
date?
2027,
Okay.
yep. So I'm trying to get the facility plan to be presented, because that's all done. And I've reached out to the engineering firm that's doing the industrial park, who also did the community center, so they would take that facility plan and then work on a scope to try and come up with a cost for what we want to do there. So the idea is we'll hopefully get that rolling this summer, and then and this is part of we're kind of getting into our strategic planning meeting that we want to sit down with as a council a little bit.
Yeah,
But
okay.
that would be the building, maybe the building would be a good idea for CDBG funds, right? Because it's a community building, so you could take some of that $600,000, maybe take half of it, or whatever we would want to come up with. And you would use that and leverage that with CDBG, and then you've got the building itself that you can update, and then you've got the other half that you can stick in and go after into this project and use it for RRB funds or whatever, so. But that's a different meeting. But there's kind of two things with that. One would be the pavement, which we would put in First Avenue, and then the building itself. But all of it is eligible for those funds, correct? Okay.
One thing I'd like to mention is when we get these parking lots new and improved and up to stuff, not allowing big trucks to park in there, like overnight parking and stuff.
Mhm.
That they were parking those trucks that used to haul to the nugget plant in the community center parking lot, that didn't do that parking lot any favor.
No.
Just like down by the Pine Grove Park, there shouldn't be big semis parking in those lots.
And that's a good
Where
question
the
for,
tires, your car probably weighs more.
Well,
Per square inch, yeah.
well, it's a good question, for Josh, when he comes back to it, when we're designing it, is what do we design it for? You know, are we gonna design it for big trucks like that? I mean, that's an added cost, right? Or what kind of weight are you anticipating? So that's something we'll definitely talk about.
Richard, you probably know more about this, but it strikes me a lot of times that we don't like do what homeowners do of sealing the asphalt after years. It just seems like it's not on our maintenance schedule. Does that indeed prolong the integrity and longevity of?
You guys are knocking it out of the park with questions today.
Oh, well.
That is a good question, and yes, they do, and we did get on the county. So what the county does is they offer a crack seal, bulk
That's the
crack
most
seal
important
program,
one, yeah.
or a chip program. And we budgeted, reached out to the county last year, and we budgeted to have 4th Avenue cracked chip sealed from Bradish Lumber area, we'll call it, all the way across that whole thing to First Street, kind of in front of that house. So that will prolong that. And then we also are gonna chip seal 3rd Avenue South from the auto parts store all the way down to the Lutheran Church. So we're gonna chip seal that. So we're gonna try and budget about $30,000 or $40,000 of chip sealing every year, or crack filling, either or. But the county puts out solicitation, and then they get it in bulk, right? So they have all the communities jump on their bulk pricing package, and we took the liberty of jumping on that with them last year. So we will look to do that. And that was based off of our capital improvement plan that we approved, that we wanted to get back into that chip sealing and crack sealing program. So you'll see that being done this summer.
It's hard enough to get things in the first place, let alone
Yeah.
let them deteriorate too much, right?
Yep.
Do you have other matters you're gonna present on, or?
The community housing development, we got the grant back, we're signed on that. The wetland delineation was done. We've got a second iteration of minimal, there was a couple iterations that they did. One was with more wetland impacts, one was less. Obviously, we'll probably want to do the one with less impacts. So we'll probably come up and bring that to you guys to look at, and to HRA and the housing development to kind of look at that and see. So we got that study back and done. They did a Alta survey on it to do ownership, and that came back okay. They're still doing some other things like the environmental assessment and all those other things, but I would expect those to come back. We're not really thinking there was anything environmentally in there. So that's, I just want to let you know that that's moving forward. Things are going on. Let's see, we talked First Avenue reconstruction. County Highway 100 improvements. People are still hot to talk about that. We do have the second round of meetings scheduled for July 9th at the community center. The times are not firm yet, but it's going to be in the afternoon. We'll hold the 3 stakeholder meetings, I think at like 1:30 or 2 for the first one, and then 2:30 or 3 for the second one, and then 6 o'clock again for the public. But we'll flesh those out when it gets a little bit closer. But essentially, all the meetings will be in the afternoon. So we'll have those 3 on July 9th at the community center. We did have our City of Aurora Technical Committee team meet with the county team on that, and we went through the project from tip to tail, went through some more ideas that we had. Nothing, there's a lot of stuff going in the public that this is all figured out yet. And I can tell you, as we've sat down, we have not figured out anything yet. There's just a lot of things that we have to really look at, including Railroad Avenue. They're talking about making that a one-way or abandoning it and making 3rd Street more straight for routes rather than railroad. So, I mean, this is the one where they're going to bring ideas, like here's 4 ideas for railroad, here's 4 ideas for the main stop, here's 4 ideas for the railroad track crossing, things like that. So they're going to bring up a bunch of things, get input from the public again, and then they'll go back to the design board after that. So look for that on July 9th. Central Avenue, we are doing work on that as well. That is ready to go and has been handed out for public bids. We're looking for, we'll take bids until the 25th of June, and we'll review those, bring those up to the committee to vote on, and approve that, and we'll be off and running by late summer, early fall. So again, what they're doing there is, as you drive Central Avenue, you feel all of the bumps and the cracks in Central. They're going to do saw cut, like a 3 or 4 foot cross section out of the road to the bed, and then repave it and smooth it out completely, nice and neat. So that ride will be nice all the way through. The manhole covers are going to get adjusted and set down to the correct levels. So it's just kind of looking at ride from Central Avenue all the way to Erie Street. If it goes up to North Erie, I don't know that we have enough in the budget for that this year. We wanted to include that, but they didn't give us the full CDBG funding. So I think it's just going to be Central this year. Then the idea would be, like you're talking about the chip sealing, next year then once those cracks are done and all taken care of and it's smooth, we would chip seal all of Central the following year and Erie Street and get that all ship shape. So that is going to be done here rather soon. Pine Grove Park parking lot is done. Other than the hydro seeding, they will be in here this week. And I don't know, John, did Jordan get a hold of you?
Yes, Jordan and I met before this meeting, and he has it all marked out where we want it hydro seeded down.
Okay,
at
good.
the pickleball court, so.
Excellent.
We can keep the four-wheelers off, we'll have green.
Yeah. So all that's left is hydro seeding. The splash pad, we've been getting tons of calls on that. It's up, it's ready to go. We're just not running it yet because we had it paved, we had the striping done, we wanted the hydro seeding done by the end of the week. And then once that's done, the goal is to light it up this weekend. So hopefully it'll be available this weekend. And the hydro seeding would be done at the pickleball court as well as this. We kind of doubled in on that and saw significant savings on that. So.
Yeah, and two things. One, the pickleball court is being paid for being informed by a private organization. It's not no funds from the city are being taken for that.
Good
And
to
secondly, if we could have the city go out there and mow that, I know it's supposed to rain tonight, but Jordan said if they could mow it down before they hydro seed, it would help.
We can get on that hopefully tomorrow. Yep.
Kudos to the city administrator for lighting a fire under the contractor.
I cannot take credit for that.
Well, it did seem like there was some intervention needed.
There was some. As you can imagine, that company has a lot of jobs to do right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And the squeaky, wheel gets the grease, and our engineering firm made sure that they got here. We wanted to get it done before the splash pad went online. We didn't want those trucks and things down there when there's people trying to park down there, obviously, for obvious reasons. So it looks wonderful. If you haven't been down there to look at it yet, it looks really, really nice. So that's all done and should be ready to go by the end of the weekend. So,
I was just going to bring something up on the recycling location. I've been getting some calls of people went there and the school had been torn down or something, and they said, wait a minute, where are we doing? I think we got to put up some kind of a billboard that says this is relocation necessitated by this, and what the suggested plan and maybe the hours of the Hudson, that they're open or something like that, just so they don't have a sense of deja vu or something. I don't know what you'd call it, shock you. So.
I can tell you it was we probably moved it a week too late. It was amazing that we didn't have anybody hurt up there. I don't know if you guys have been up there and saw the traffic from the semi-trucks running. When Yulin was up there and running through, there was people trying to recycle, and the semi-trucks were literally driving right around them as they're trying to recycle, and it was an absolute disaster. So the people that have come to my office, when they come in and you show them on the Land Explorer where you have to go, that you don't have to wait in line, that you don't have to check in with the recycle attendant, it's the same things. 90% of them didn't have a problem with it that I've been showing them.
Yeah.
They just have to be shown where it is and know the process, and they've
the
been
hours.
And the hours.
And can we just put it on the website, that information? That'd be great.
Yeah. Yep. We can do that. So, but yes, no, we've been getting tons of calls on that and the lead service line inventory. So I guess I got 1 minute left, so I'll touch on that. The lead service line inventory is directed by the federal government, okay? So the EPA came up with this. Everybody in the United States has to do this. This is not the city of Aurora. This is not the Minnesota Department of Health, though the Minnesota Department of Health umbrella it falls under. So everybody received funding for this project for grants as long as you put in for it to have a contractor to come in and do it because the timeline was so tight. They knew that city staff couldn't do this. The way they handed out the notice to proceeds went by town town capacity or town population. So towns with less population got it first, and so on and so forth. So by the time we were given the notice to proceed with it, it was a little bit later than we would have liked. Some people were upset because the card said May 31st, get it submitted by, and they got it the 30th or the 29th or 28th. The deadline for us to do it is mid-July, something like that. We know that the cards are probably only gonna get 10-15% of the public, and we have to do a physical inspection, and they'll come to their house. It takes 5 seconds. There's no cost to anybody. The city did not absorb any cost for this. We did get a grant for it. We're not even seeing that money that's going through. So look for Bolton and Mink to come through with an intern and do that. That's all I got.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Moved and supported, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, our agenda setting meeting is over. Thank you, Jen. So, just a reminder, there are refreshments over there at some point, maybe we can do it after the meeting. All right, so I'll call our regular first of the month meeting of the Aurora City Council to order. And could we have a roll call, please?
We
Would
can.
that be you?
Yep.
Yes, all right.
Godey,
Yes.
McClosich,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Here. All right, we have a council, and now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and for those not familiar with it, it's the portion of the agenda where we actually adopt in block a number of routine matters that are in front of the city. And if anyone has an agenda there, it's the items marked with an asterisk. And does any counselor want to have anything removed from the consent agenda? Anyone? Nope. All right. So is there a motion then to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion to approve the
Second.
consent.
Councilor McCloskey
I'll
moves.
support it.
Councilor Hess and Councilor
Oh, I didn't
Godey
hear.
support the motion. All right. Any further discussion on anything under those agenda items? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The consent agenda is adopted. Moving down to appearances. Are you in a position, if you could state your name and try to confine your comments to 3 minutes?
What I was gonna say right now.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Are you talking on any other item that's on the agenda? Good, go for it. Okay.
Judy Shink, and a couple weeks ago, I went and came here because of the house assessment and refresh your memory. And I learned a lot during that assessment, and I thought I would share some of it with you, and that's why I'm here tonight. During the assessment, I found out that the evaluation of the homes only includes homes that sell. They don't include foreclosures. They don't include homes that don't sell. They don't take into consideration blights. Nothing negative goes into the assessment, only positive sales. So it is vastly tilted, shall we say, to the Department of Revenue, which is what the assessor's job is. They're under the Department of Revenue. And since we have such a huge couple of billion dollars surplus in the last couple of years, I thought that was kind of interesting. Then the other thing that I found out is that the city council has the approval to challenge the formulas that they're using. And I didn't know that, but I have learned that since then. And unless I'm wrong somewhere, I've been known to be wrong, but I don't think I am. So that's why I'm speaking up. They don't take into the population differences between our town and our county even with the rest of the Minnesota. In Aurora alone, our population 23% is living in poverty. The child poverty is nearly 38%. And I'm sure this is not something new to you guys, but they're going according to what the state stuff is in evaluating homes. That's a huge difference because other places are like 12%. You know, you've got over a third of your kids living in poverty here in Aurora. So, overall, our poverty level is 59% higher than elsewhere in Minnesota. All of my facts are coming from government places, and I will share that at a time where I don't have 2 minutes. There it is. With our Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis coming in at 4.7% rate of inflation, the Consumer Price Index at 3.2, and the Bureau of Labor and Statistics for the last 12 months is at 3.4. Those kind of things are what people are expecting to get on their property, and not these 3 times, it doubled, our property personally doubled in 3 years. There's not another place in Minnesota that I have found that has doubled in 3 years. I may be wrong, but for the poorest town in the state to get double the property value, that seems a little bit odd to me. So, I have more facts, but I don't really need to share them. What I wanted to do was just to encourage you to question the assessors when they come in, because you guys can approve, you guys need to approve the assessment. It's really in your hands, and it's not in their hands as much as they would like you to believe. So that was the law that I read. Maybe I'm out of date or not kept up, or there's another angle that I'm not looking at. But as you know, my dad used to be a judge, and I like to step forward and try to give us a little encouragement, shall we say.
Well, if we had a citizens task force, I'm sure you'd be the first one to be put onto it. But
if you can catch me, do it.
okay.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
I just
Appreciate
wanted to share
the
that.
concerns and the comments, and yeah, I think we do get training in what we can do relative to property values, and I'm sure we'll take the comments in line there. Each of us had to be certified through a training program on what our authority was as a council.
Well, I'd love to learn more from you guys then if I'm off base.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bud.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on then to, let's see, we've had our staff members' reports. I'm missing part of my agenda packet. All right.
Report from counselors.
Yes, that would be there, wouldn't it? Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So we'll move to our reports from counselors. Counselor Godey?
Well, as you can imagine, planning and zoning permits are picking up pretty steadily, and and to tie that in with the HRA and their program to offer help with projects, we'll see more and more. Mary Malari has done a lot of work on those matching up to $1,000 grants. We had 22 people apply for 20 spots.
And the grant application period is passed, right?
Right.
The deadline. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting. It's been a program that really has seemed to catch on, and hopefully we'll still keep getting money to continue that. It makes a difference in a community, and so yeah, that's encouraging. And
It has a multiplier effect, right? And once
Right.
people start on one project, they oftentimes.
Yeah, it's surprising. A lot of projects they're asking for the $1,000, but they're spending $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 on their homes. You know, some are closer to the $2,000 that would require the $1,000 grant, but there's a big amount of them that are way above. So, no, and as neighborhoods get fixed up, it encourages people on either side of them to also paint and clean up their homes too. So, yeah, That's really the only two committees I wanted to talk about, so.
Thank you.
One thing I would like to say is, I know it's not Aurora, but Dave Zins resigned, and I'd just like to, you know, go on record thanking him for his time, and the time I've been with him on a few committees, I've enjoyed being with him. I think he'll have so much free time now, he won't know what to do with himself, but
Well, we don't want to emphasize that for those that might be considering public service, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So that's it.
Well noted, yeah, so. Councilor Mikulasich?
As far as the park board is concerned, we're still looking for 2 members, if anybody's interested to join our crew. The splash pad came up at the last meeting, and Josh talked about it at the pre-meeting, but it'll open soon. Wanted to get the work on the parking lot done, and then the hydro seeding. So that's coming soon, it's ready to go. And then the pickleball is done and open, and people can use it from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. The only other thing I'll say is we're still working on a date that we can figure out when we can pour a slab for the East End Park so that we can take down that old Aurora Lions booth or cover. We've got the new one sitting, I guess, at Colvin's, we just need to put it in.
Great. Councilor Hanson?
Yes, I would like, the librarian mentioned kind of at the end of her presentation about the information boards in the library. And I would just like to encourage with all the projects down the road in the city of Aurora, I'd like to encourage the public to take advantage of that. You can see it in the library. They can also help you. The administrator mentioned that there will be a website that's going to be coming online for information. Bolton and Mink also has you're able to sign up to get ongoing emails that will update you. I guess my point is the information is out there. We're trying to get it. Everybody wants to keep the public informed about what's going on. And I encourage people to take advantage of this. If you have a question, ask, because we've got many people that want to get that information to you.
So, thank you, Councilor. Councilor Hess?
Nothing.
Really? You're so active in so many groups. Anyway, well, brevity is sometimes rewarded there, so. All right, well, just personally, congratulations to the pickleball court ribbon cutting. I think between the chamber and the group that put that together, just a remarkable moment in the community's history, and I'm sorry I missed it, I was out of town. But I guess we did have a proclamation that dutifully recognized those things. And I just want to put in a thanks to all the summer workers that are on board. The city's really starting to look pretty well maintained and refreshing. I know sometimes Mother Nature gets ahead of our schedule of hiring. Let's see, the Board of Appeals and Equalization, to which Ms. Schenk referred, they had meetings since our last meeting here, and 3 parties, I believe, appeared in various ways at times on that, and the board did determine on the basis of new evidence and assessments to reduce the property taxes of one individual by about, what, 23,000? Not the taxes, I'm sorry, the property value by 23,000. So for those who have concerns and go to those kind of meetings, they do pay off occasionally. So, East Range Joint Powers Board are gearing up on various programs. One grant that's being sought is for a local community housing fund that over time, depending on different projects, monies could be put into as matching monies for housing related projects. And then also going for a $70,000 grant with the IRRB to recapitalize the board's business loan fund, which was very active during the COVID pandemic, and now they're trying to relaunch in a new way. May 21st, I think, Luke, right, you appeared at the Housing Summit over in Grand Rapids. I went to the Housing Summit in Virginia the next day, and there were rave reviews about Luke's presentation there, much more extended. I gave a presentation that highlighted both the community potential housing development in the platted area for the Aurora Borealis, or the Borealis plat, which was a surprise to some people. They didn't realize that was so well positioned for development. And then just to put in a kudos for National Sauna Day from the East Range Joint Board, June 8th at the Malamark Homestead in Embarrass. So everybody that's into those kinds of activities, that opportunity is available. Water Board report. Legislatively, we were disappointed that the relief that we thought we were going to get, an additional $4.5 million of WIF funds, got killed in those last moments in the legislature. It was on the bill, it was supposed to be adopted, so we'll have to go back next year, and we've got a little bit of slack from our many other funding sources there. We're doing, as part of the agenda today, you saw we had an interim loan we got in 2021 to provide working funds for engineering and so forth. That is coming due on July 1st, and that is welcome news. It's at a higher interest rate, but it gives us continued funds to move the project forward, and it's otherwise budgeted to be paid off as part of the project financing. Let's see, Pineville treated water line placement as part of that project is basically complete, I believe, Luke, isn't it? Yeah.
It's pretty close, yep.
Yeah, pretty close, and then the water lines will be extended now in rapid sequence out to the actual scenic acres areas for the new portion of water services for the area. And as Luke alluded to with treatment plant site work for the water treatment centers, going great. We've been pleased that Hoyt Lakes has been sending Jake Burt, their public works person, to attend our water board meetings, which is hopefully going to be good to provide information to that community as it decides how to go ahead. Luke's applied for congressionally designated spending funds, right, for the Army Corps of Engineers. Actually was talking with Senator Klobuchar over the weekend and
Hey.
put in a good word for our request there. And let's see, we've gotten to the reboot. Okay, turning the range mayor's meeting. We had a legislative update, which I think got circulated to all of you, or not. It was about a 12-page summary of some of the things. Okay, we'll make sure that came from Jeff Anderson, who's also the lobbyist for Rams. That is so I'm sure it's only the first of several efforts to try to digest everything that got adopted. But it's good if citizens are asking us, to have some bearings on that anyway. Tax forfeit property reforms were enacted, they're not implemented, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So there's a light at the end of the tunnel there. There were provisions, I know, for a lot of the families in the community for advance payments on child tax credits, so they get benefit earlier than just filing each year. Ranger Snowmobile Club got $25,000, and EMS $24 million for on the state, a lot less than the services wanted, but at least it's a one-time infusion of some cash for all of those. So I think that's kind of the reports I've got there. All right, moving on to old business, agenda item 16, we have none, right? That hasn't changed to city administrator. Moving then on to new business, agenda item 17.1 is the gambling proceeds request. And we have that information in the packet from the East Range Police Department. Does staff have any recommendations? I mean, they're asking for some of the charitable gambling monies, right?
Yep, it's an allowable expense. Yep. In the past, they've received donations from 1,000 to 5,000. Their goal is, as you can see, and there's like 25 or 26,000. We're sitting on 20,000 plus we're still waiting for some more funds to come in yet. So There are funds in there to hand out. They just simply said at your discretion, whatever the mayor and council feels would be appropriate to help kind of kickstart. Again, this isn't for salaries or overtime or anything like that. It's specifically for funding for the dog. So it'd be vet bills and things like that would be encumbered. One expense they had was a tooth, which was like $6,000 that had to get replaced. So
The restricted canine fund that
Yep.
the chief refers to, is that like an outside fund like the Clausage Memorial or anything? Or
it's
is it-
a separate outside fund set aside specifically for the animal itself. That's all it can be used for. The safety board set it all up, approved it, so they can have this account designated for it now. So it's all, I guess, legitimate for accounting purposes and whatnot. And they have, just like,
Dog expense, training,
yeah,
replacement, if it comes down to that in a few years, so.
yep. And it's all specifically related to the dog. Just like we have for our gambling fund, a specific list of things that we can use. They've got a specific list of things that it can only go for the dog, so.
Well, we have, Richard, you're on the Public Safety Board, right? And others, Councilman Clausage, you're gonna.
Oh, I'm not on the board, no, but I was just gonna suggest we start at, and you guys can go lower or higher, but I think last year Luke mentioned that we gave the fire department $4,000 for hoses, so I would start at $4,000 as far as a gift for
I would agree to
the
that.
canine,
That
that's
seems
somewhat
reasonable.
consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping open the option depending on how the fundraising goes, that we could
Yeah.
reconsider something there. So is that a motion then? Or,
I'll put it in a motion, or do you want?
Okay, I'll make a motion to provide gambling tax proceeds of $4,000 to the East Range Police Department for tax, the dog account, tax.
His retirement fund.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
It's been seconded by Councilor Hess. Any further discussion on it? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so that's adopted, and I'm sure TAC will be appreciative. 17.2, set up a budget working session. I know Luke's corresponded a little with this.
Yep, so it looks like it might be best for us to kind of push this into maybe that first full week of July, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that. What we did last year is it did last about 3 or 4 hours. We had a working lunch with staff. We advertised it as a council meeting. Department heads came in, kind of had a half hour each. You guys can ask questions, and we're strictly looking at how are things going this year? What are we looking to budget for next year? For example, Pine Grove Park, do we want to look at a warming shack? Do we want to set a base for it? Do we want to do it now? Do we want to do a bridge? You know, things like that, and then we can kind of get an idea. So then when we go to budgets, everybody here has talked to all of the department heads. We've talked about all of the projects, and we start setting that budget. When we start getting to our ceiling, we can say, well, you know what? We got to just push this back, and everybody knows where we're at, and kind of rank them a little bit. Not that that's the end all be all on that date, but at least gets the juices flowing and we're starting to move with it. So because staff's here, I asked that we do start it earlier during the day, so we don't have to have them all on overtime in the evening. It is open to the public. We post it plenty. Anyone is welcome to come. I also encourage other staff other than department heads to come. So anyone can come and provide input. So last year we kind of did 12 to 4, 11:30 to 3:30, something like that. So I don't know, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere around there, whatever is.
We've got that county meeting on the 9th.
Yeah, so the 9th would probably be out. So then maybe the 10th or the 11th, maybe somewhere in the middle of the week like that.
Yep. Those dates work for me, 10th or 11th. Dan's nodding his head, we're good here?
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
So you're looking at the 11th?
10th or 11th, whichever day works best for the
Works
staff.
for me.
For you guys.
What time would you start this, noon?
At noon, I think would be a good start.
It'd work for me then.
So noon on the 11th or the 10th?
Thursday?
Thursday the 11th.
Thursday 11th?
Thursday, the 11th.
Okay.
Good. By that time, two things. One, will we have
What time?
both our first quarter financial reports, or maybe even more? And will we also have the annual, or, the 2023 accounting?
Well, for sure, Kimberly's gonna present at the next meeting on the 18th. So we'll be lining that up, so you'll have that. The audit needs to be done by the end of the 30th. Whether he's ready to present by the 11th or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I just think that'd be valuable to know how we ended up last year with all the various funds and carrying forward there. I don't think we went into any kind of a deficit, but even if we had surpluses, it'd be nice to know that, take those into consideration, so. All right, so we're all set on that?
Thursday, the 11th at
Is that
12
gonna be
o'clock.
by a motion?
I should do
Yeah.
Do you want a motion?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I move we set the working session for July 11th, noon.
Moved by Counselor Hanson, seconded by, or supported by Counselor Hess. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have our session set up. Moving next to resolution 2024-32 as prepared, approving a one-day consumption ordinance, or some amendments to it. City Administrator, do you want
Yep.
to?
So we're allowed to do so many one-day ordinances, and I'm gonna rely on Mr. Carney to make sure this resolution's, what you've looked at, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Lindsay, you've worked on this. So we do just one-day permits. We're more strict than what the state allows. The state allows up to 4 days. So we have a couple requests for July 2nd and July 3rd. And because our ordinance is as it is, we can only allow the 1 day. So we're looking to do that and repeal and replace the existing ordinance and go up with the state's recommendation. And I guess I'll let Mike kind of chime in on that a little bit.
That's correct. Basically, it's just the term of the license, no more than 4 days. That's what state law is. The city of Aurora just had 1 day. So we're repealing the whole thing. It's just cleaner and replacing it with that. But that's the only change in the ordinance, that you permit 4 days. So
It's for like an on-site liquor license for if you want to sell outside the window
Yep.
on 4th of July.
Does any historian here know why we had it at 1 day rather than 4? Or that, Counselor Hess?
that's
No?
just the way it was.
All right, just the way. All right.
Now, the fee is stated as $25 for a one-day license. Would that be 25 for each day that they use up to the 4 days?
Good point there. I think that would be, well, it'd be council to, you know, maybe $25 for each day.
Per
I
day?
mean, that's what it says right now.
Right.
So I might suggest we could entertain a motion to adopt the resolution, adding to it that the rate would be $25 a day.
That's what it is right now. In
Well,
if you
it's-
look on D, the license fee.
For a 1 day.
This is
Right.
For 1 day, but
But if
I,
you're going 2 days, then it would be,
You want a 1 day, you want a 2 day license.
well, it
So
would be,
2 1 days or.
well, yeah, it would be,
for each day, how about
Right.
$25 for each day of
well,
the
that's what it
license?
says for a 1 day license. So if you're asking for 2 days, it'd be $50.
Right.
If everybody's
Oh,
clear
I
on
see.
that.
For the fee for a 1 day license is 25. Well, I'll make a motion then to approve the change in ordinance, section 126. 1 day license to a 4 day license.
I think we just have to do the resolution, right?
Yeah, just pass
Yes,
the
is there a
resolution.
resolution 2024-32?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You're moving adoption of that. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Supported by Counselor Hanson. Any further discussion on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New ordinance change is adopted. 17.4 relates back to the matter of assessments that the city administrator referred to in our agenda-setting meeting. There's a prepared resolution there of 2024-40. And city administrator, any further words of explanation on that?
Yep, so we did update the resolutions. The one that I have on my email is the older one, but we did put for 2024-40 that the utility replacement survey would be at a cost not to exceed of $10,000. It's already included in the work that we're doing, so we're not having to go back to the well, so to speak, to try and find more money for that. So it'd be money that we already have budgeted for this project. Again, this is not leveling the assessments. You're not saying that you're doing it. You're not committed to it. You're just saying that we're going to take the study, approve the study, and go down the path to see what we'd like to do at the end of the study. So,
There's no cost in this resolution?
Well, the updated one that we have downstairs says not to exceed $10,000. The one that we signed will say at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-40.
Counselor Hess moves. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Supported by Counselor Godey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This put in place in a related one, under agenda item 17.5 is proposed resolution 2024-41 relating to the West First Avenue project,
Yep.
right?
And now, this one is a cost not to exceed $15,000. Obviously, there's a lot more houses in here, there's a lot more work being done, there's a lot more to go into the study. This one, the resolution 2024-41 will say at a cost not to exceed of $15,000. Same scenario, we're just doing the study, we're just going down that path.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-41. It just mirrors.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 17.6, proposed resolution 2024-42, East Range Water Board loan extension, which it's a real education in public financing. I had a note here someplace that the term allonge.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess we're supposed to learn things while we're serving the public here, and that's certainly a relatively new word, and I even looked it up. It's a French word that means to essentially add on.
Is that
Why
lawyer
they don't
speak, Mike?
use an amendment, I don't know. Counselor?
Is that lawyer speak?
Well, I had 4 years of French, but it did any good, but that's, yeah, they're just further add-on or whatever, extend it, so.
And you've had an opportunity to look through the document and everything? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a series of documents, right? I think, can we adopt, there's a extract of minutes that I guess I would be signing. Well, there's that's required to be adopted by a motion.
You're approving the resolution and issuance and delivery of the lounge, and then obviously, that's just the support showing that council action is taken.
Yeah,
The
so
extract.
So just
proper to adopt, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a little history on it. This was drafted up by Freiberger, and it was done in accordance with David Drowns and Associates, who's our finance advisor, our finance advisor for the board. So both the finance advisor and Freiberger also went through this as well. The reason we have to do this is because it's due July 1st, and we don't have our state funds quite secured. We're very, very close, but we would be short-sighted to just think that we're gonna have them by July 1st to make the payment, so we're looking to extend it until we get them. The board could make the decision to just keep paying the interest payments and pay it off at the end, or they could make the decision to pay it off right away once we get the full funding sources. So this is just an extension. It is payable by the state funds that we'll be incurring, just so you know where the money's coming to pay for the extension.
And as, in keeping with the times, the interest rate is higher on
It
this
is.
extension than
It is.
originally, but the original one was in 2021, when the interest market was substantially different. So, yeah, and there's a possibility we could pay off the loan early if funds become available otherwise, so.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-42.
It's been moved by Counselor Hess. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Supported by Counselor Godey. Realizing this involves some financial matters that may be beyond ours, and we have to trust people. That'd be the only comment I'm making, but I know we're all doing it in good faith. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so we have our extension approved, and then 17.7 is one-day liquor consumption permit approval. This is the one in the packet that's made by Celebrate Aurora, and it's for the event. Is it the third or the second, or both? Let's see.
So
sell
the-
liquor on the sidewalk in front of the Copper Nickel.
The fee should say $50 then, right?
Yeah,
And then the other thing I guess I'll ask Mr. Carney is, should we do these individually as well, since there's two of them?
individually, but I mean, just clean it up, is that, you know, if they're doing it more than one day, I was looking to see what day they're requesting. It says July 2nd and 3rd,
Yep.
so it's actually 2 days, so.
In two different locations too,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So I would, you know, if it's 2 days, I would say $50 rather than 25.
Or $25 each, because you said to adopt them separately?
Right, well, I'm
Well,
looking just at the first
Each-
one.
Yep.
Each permit is 2 days.
So the first motion would be to approve Celebrate Aurora's one-day liquor consumption permit for $50 for both days. And then
Well,
we-
it says 1 to 4 day temporary, so actually it's 2 day
Yeah.
Sure.
and $50.
So you want to call it a 2-day permit? Sure. Okay, there you go.
All right.
So do Celebrate
Oh, I
Aurora's
see, the
first.
other one's for the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
All
Yep.
right, I understand, okay, for 2
Yep.
days. All right, is there a motion then to approve that, the granting of that license and permit for the 2 days to the Celebrate Aurora Group?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Counselor Hess, supported by Counselor Hanson. Any further discussion?
I would say that you're amending it to $50,
To 50.
with the amendment to $50.
All right.
Let Lindsay know that.
Yep. Yep.
So that's a friendly amendment on the motion there.
Right, and who seconded that then?
I did.
Okay.
All right, so the motion as amended is before us. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The Celebrate Aurora permit is granted. Moving to the next one by the Aurora Chamber of Commerce for a liquor sales in front of Dino's Liquor as well as their parking lot.
So is this just for July 2nd then?
No,
Second and third.
Second.
Second and third?
same thing as
Oh,
the
yeah,
other.
second and third, got it, okay.
I move we approve the 2-day license for the Chamber of Commerce.
Is there support for council?
With the $50 amendment.
There you go.
Right.
Yep.
I'll support that.
All right, so the motion is made by Counselor Hanson with the added stipulation that it's $50, and Counselor McCloskey has supported it. Any further discussion?
I'll be abstaining because I'm not.
All right, the record will note that Counselor Hess is abstaining because he's, president, right, of the chamber, right? All right, so with that added note, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it's noted that Counselor Hess has abstained. So that completes our listed agenda items. City Administrator 17.8, any other matters that should come before us, or
No, sir?
any counselors, anything?
Are we gonna have to put a letter of approval for that bike trail?
Well, we will eventually. I was asking them to come back when they actually have, they had a couple of ideas of where it was running, so I kind of wanted to wait until they know where they're doing with their pre-design, but in the fall. Yeah.
All right, any other matters before us? If not,
Just a question.
Counselor Hanson?
On these permits, it's a 2-day event, but down below, the permit date is only listed one of those days. Should both dates be on that?
Up in the top, it said July 2nd and 3rd, I think, on the
Yeah.
permits.
Yeah, days of events, but I mean, is that required on
Yeah,
at the
down-
bottom where it says permit date? It's,
It goes into effect that day?
Yeah, we'll double check with Age to make sure, but
Yeah.
I think it would be the date that the permit is started
Okay.
on, and the permit will list the 2nd and 3rd.
That's what they've got on their application. Is that your understanding, Richard?
Huh?
The second and
2
third?
days? All right, seeing no further business, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Moved
I'll
by
support
Counselor
it.
McCloskey, supported by Counselor Cody. Anticipating no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned, and our next scheduled meeting is on June 18th at 5:00 PM. Well, now we have to eat cake and suffer through some lemonade.